As promised, I plan on delivering more content. I have been every other day going beach metal detecting, and today these. I found two rings. Just wanted to show you. This actually rang up a solid. Well, I say solid. It rang up between 18 and 20, so there was a little bit of a change, but I was pretty excited about it. I think I may have even seen a 17, but then it settled on, I believe, a 19. It didn't really fluctuate much, but as I took out a few dry sand scoops, the number changed, but it was a solid tone. I'm certainly learning to distinguish between. My beach has a lot of aluminum foil, a lot of thin pieces of metal, and as tempting as it is, and I've heard people that find a lot of rings always say when you're using the Equinox 900 to always dig anything between -1 and 20, 22. Uh, I must say that, as you know, the side benefit of helping clean the beaches doesn't outweigh the effort. And so I have started, as I've gotten more comfortable with the tones and what I'm listening for, I have started to ignore 1 through 7, 1 through 8. If it's that flickering beep 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 beep, uh, I've been skipping it over. So all I can say is just like when you get on a U.S. coin, a penny, a dime, a nickel, or a quarter, that it's a unique solid sound. That's what I've found thus far with the rings that I've recovered. This is at some point I'll do a full count, but I want to say these are my sixth and seventh rings respectfully, and this was very stable. Like I said, maybe between 17 and 20, but it was pretty solid after I dug down a bit. This, just from a technique perspective, I believe I'm pretty accurate with my sand scoop. It's got a pretty wide mouth, but I've found that with dry sand, it collapses fast enough that if I haven't got it within 3 scoops, what I've been doing is using my pinpointer and then taking my hand and actually cupping and attempting to throw the object up onto the surface. And that's exactly what happened in this case, is that uh, I managed to throw this out of probably 10, 12 inches at the bottom and throw it up onto the surface. So just a technique for you. Now this one, actually very happy with this. I I have found that between 28 and 34, it's typically aluminum pull tabs, beaver tails uh, off of the aluminum pull tab cabs, or even the twist off uh, beer tops. So I pretty much avoid or don't dig those. But this was a solid 42, and uh, I wasn't expecting that. I'm going to have to do some research. Please leave in the comments if you guys are finding sterling silver at 42. But I must say, this ring, I would call it the whale tail. Although it might be kind of costumey, I didn't even talk about this. I'm sorry. So this this ring here, unfortunately, even though it was within the band for gold, upon closer looking through it with a loop, I believe it is. Those are just CZs. I look for the prongs and if they're really holding the diamonds in, and I don't feel like the prongs are holding in the diamonds. It does. This is something to look for. It does have the holes in the back to allow light in. So typically, that's a little bit more expensive, nicer process, but the prongs don't look like they're really holding in the diamonds. And secondly, this color almost looks like the color was off a little bit for what I would expect for 14, even 10 karat gold. There's no hallmarks, but upon magnification, there is some flaking. So maybe in the best case scenario, this is gold plated. I was just surprised that it didn't ring up a higher number for what this ring is probably comprised of. But nonetheless, that was a disappointment. Now this ring is an honest 925. It's actually stamped, and it's just a nice looking sterling silver ring. So happy about that. Now this is more a cautionary tale for everyone. I know I've already rambled on for 5 minutes. This what initially the first 2 weeks I was saving all of my junk, essentially everything I found. It was in a separate pocket of my CKG bag, and but what I've started doing after my first couple episodes where I showed you the kind of stuff I'm finding, a lot of tent stakes. I've been just at the end of each trip just dumping the contents, and the end of each trip, or maybe there's leftover from a couple nights ago, and when I was grabbing out a lot of the finer items to throw in the trash, I pulled this out. So unfortunately, this is costume jewelry. The diamonds also seem to be glued in, and the prongs seem to not really be holding. Seem not to really have a function. I call it costume jewelry. This is a These are earrings that clip on, and when I use a magnet, that portion is magnetic. So, but it's a very, it's an attractive earring, and I'll add it to the little jewelry collection. But as I always joke around, unless you find the other pair, earrings are kind of a disappointment unless there's actually some melt value associated with it. Okay, so those are a couple of the rings that I found today, and I also found a lot of coins. Thank you very much.